StoneCut is the newest multi-decoration software from Digital Art Solutions. StoneCut is an add-on software for CorelDRAW or Adobe Illustrator that can be used to create multi-decoration apparel graphics for rhinestones, heat transfer films, and any kind of cutting process. So let me kind of walk you through the basic concept here. First of all, we're in CorelDRAW. The software requires a graphics program such as CorelDRAW or Adobe Illustrator. It doesn't have its own design environment, so it relies on the design environment of Corel or Illustrator. So what I can do is just set up a graphic in Corel real quick, and then I can show you how we can convert that into a rhinestone setup. So what I'm going to do is just going to grab the text tool in Corel. I'm going to type in a font. In this case, I'm going to use a rhinestone font from one of the new rhinestone font packs from Digital Art Solutions. You notice I just typed in the font. Set that up. If I want to take that over to StoneCut to output it, all I have to do is go over to the StoneCut toolbar over here. This little toolbar we've added to CorelDRAW, click on Cut, and it's going to seamlessly transfer the file over to StoneCut. So here we go, there's our file. Now the next thing I can do is I can specify the stone size, diameter, whether I'm doing an SS6 or an SS10, whether I'm doing a rhine stud, whether I'm doing a dome. We can do that right directly inside of StoneCut. So let me show you how that works. First of all, I'm going to go over here to the little toolbar over here. It's called macros, and then what we have is all these different settings, and each one of these settings applies to a different rhinestone function. So the function that I want is called the object replacer. I'll just click on the object replacer. I'll put in the diameter of my rhinestone, I'll put in the size, the color, everything I need, click on OK, and there we go. So we've changed the size, we've changed the color. Now one of the unique properties of the software is if I go over here to Objects, go to Attributes, and select an attribute for fixed sizing, what that'll do is it'll dynamically change the spacing. So if I make that object a little bit bigger, it's going to spread that out. If I make it a little bit smaller, it's going to tighten those stones up. There we go. So we can just get our spacing set up perfectly. Next thing I want to do is I want to add a vector graphic. So the software has the ability to import vector graphics in popular formats. We can also seamlessly transfer a vector graphic from Corel or Illustrator, and it also has its own library of vector graphics. What I'm going to do is just going to cruise over here to the clip art docker. I'm going to grab a graphic. We'll just grab this helmet. We'll drop that into our working space. We'll just leave it at that same size, and we're going to apply a rhinestone pattern to that. So what I'm going to do is just select it. I'm going to go over here to macros. I'm going to select place rhinestones. Here's all the primary functions for creating the rhinestones. I'm going to contour it, meaning I'm going to outline it. I can also fill it. I have a wide variety of different fill styles here that I can choose from, including a grid fill, hatch fill, multi-lined island fill, random fills, fractal fills, optimized fills, all kinds of different fill patterns here. But what we're going to do is just going to go ahead and contour it. I'm going to specify the object distance between each stone. I'm going to do circles. I could also do different objects like squares or stars or any kind of object that I can create and copy and paste to my clipboard. I'm going to put the specific diameter for my rhinestone, so in this case 3.2 millimeters for an SS10 rhinestone. I'm going to specify the color, so go over here and we'll select a color. And then what I'll do is I'll select overcut. What that's going to do, it's going to force the cutter to drive the knife blade past the point where the cutter blade dropped down, so it goes past that point, backs up, and lifts. And that's going to produce very good weeding qualities when I go to weed out that excess material when I create my stencil. Now I'm also going to select collision recognition down here, and that's going to mark any colliding rhinestones or any stones that are too closely spaced. So you'll see how that works in a second. So what I'll do is I'll go over here and click on execute. There's our pattern. We'll zoom in here, and you can see right here you've got a couple intersecting stones. So it's marked those in red, and it's automatically made the correction. What I can do is go over here to Objects, select on Object Names, click on the intersection layer, and say Delete. There you go, there's the corrected file. Then what we'll do is we'll go over here to Layers, and I'll turn that color layer off. I'm not going to delete it, just going to turn it off. There's our file. We can go ahead and do a little manual editing here if we want. So I can just grab that, position that over here. Maybe I want to add another stone, so I could move that one over here. Just go ahead and double right mouse click to add one. So you've got complete editing capability. And again, all these files have dynamic sizing, so if I can scale them up or down, they're going to scale dynamically. So the next thing I need to do is I need to output it to the cutter. We can also output directly to a laser engraver, but the software includes over 600 drivers that will drive almost any vinyl cutter on the planet. And it's also got very powerful cutting features. So let's go ahead and set that up. I'm going to click on the little cutter icon here. I'm going to select my preset for my material, in this case stone stencil material. Here's my pressure, my speed. I'm going to go ahead and put a weed border around the perimeter of the graphic. Very important, I'm going to select sort before output, which is going to sort the cutting order. So the software is going to cut the objects from bottom right to upper left in an orderly fashion. That's going to increase tracking, increase speed, increase accuracy, very important feature. We can cut by color or selected object. In this case, I'm going to cut the selected color, Montana. I'm going to preview that file real quick. There we go. And now, very important, I can show you the sorted cutting order. So by default, if that button is checked, it's going to sort the cutting order, but let me show you what would happen if we didn't select that. If we didn't select it, it's going to cut based on the order in which the objects were created in the graphic. Okay, not very accurate. It's going to definitely slow down the cutting time, and it's certainly going to decrease the tracking on my machine. If I hit sort, you can see now it's actually cutting bottom right to upper left. Not such a big deal in a small pattern, but if you're cutting a long run of decals or signed vinyls or player names and numbers, this is a really big deal, and it will significantly improve the tracking on your cutter. So at this point, when I want to send it out to the cutter, just click on Output, fires the file directly out to the cutter, creates my stencil, then we're done. So you can see StoneCut, very powerful program, very simple program, very easy to learn, and has all the core functionality for creating custom rhinestone apparel transfers.